Hi there, I'm Katie Wagner. Welcome to Social Media Help Desk. This is the time every week when we sit around and talk about our favorite tips and tricks on social media and digital marketing of the week. And we talk about what we've been finding that works here at the agency and what people might need to know to market their business better. So I'm here with one of our content editors, Melissa.
Hi.
And one of our web designer and developers, Daniel.
Hi.
And today we're going to have a spirited discussion about all kinds of things. But first, Daniel, let's start with something near and dear to your heart, which is
SEO tips about maybe you have too many words in some of your pages, not enough words, misspellings. So it's really good to have these bots crawl your website. And so
So let's talk about what a bot is, because some people may not know that.
Yeah.
So basically, the way a site gets indexed on Google is that I call them spiders. You can call them bots, but I like spiders. So spiders that Google sends out crawl through your website, and they basically figure out what the website's about and tell Google when to show it in search.
And they give you a report. And so with that report, you can look at the analytics and you can check out if there's broken links or duplicate pages, which also might affect your website. And a lot of times with the broken links, you might not know you might have broken links on your website, which doesn't really help the people on your website. They might be getting directed to something that you're intentionally not sending them, or the links aren't working. So that is also a good way to help too. There is a good way you could have helps you out with Google Analytics. You could sign up with Google Analytics and it'll help you with your report on bettering your SEO for your website.
Okay, so if we were going to do a website audit on our website, we want to know, how is my SEO? You're saying the first thing we need to do is to get a spider or a bot to crawl the website. Is that something I can do myself, or
Yeah.
how do I do that?
You could do it yourself. You can sign up with programs like Moz. Basically, those are ways that you can have it basically crawl your site. They specifically go to your site and they will send you the report after it's done. And it will let you know of all the fixes and errors that you need to do.
Okay. And then, so I'm looking for things like you said, broken links, pages that don't come up. You mentioned page length. Now, every page on your website has to have about 300 words on it, right? Because that's what search engines like to see. And I actually heard that search engines, that Google only crawls the first 500 words on a page. So if you have like a services page that has a ton of text on it, maybe that's not helping you as much as you think it is, right?
Yeah.
So 300 to 500 words is that sweet spot. And actually, there's an article on this on our blog, a 15-minute SEO audit article, if you look it up there. And it has some programs that we like to use listed there, so you can find some software that might help you with this. Another thing, Daniel, I know that you don't like to find on a website is duplicate pages, duplicate content. Tell me why that's a problem, can you?
Yeah, because that will affect the SEO of the website, because it will kind of show that you're duplicating the pages, and also that kind of causes a little error with the website.
It's kind of a scummy tactic.
Yeah, it's a
right?
scummy tactic is what I'm trying to say.
We can just say it. We can just say it. So back, most people will know what black hat is, right? We know what black hat is. It's not doing the right thing necessarily. Could work, but it's a little bit scummy. And so one of the really popular black hat tactics is to do make a bunch of websites with the same content, right? And kind of flood it.
Yeah. So it shows you're using all those keywords, and it makes it look like you have all this content, but it's actually just duplicated
But it's
content.
the same content.
Yeah.
And now, so what you're saying is now Google's gotten wise to that. And now they ding you for that. They don't like to see duplicate content.
Yeah. So these reports are actually really important, because you could accidentally have duplicate pages and you'll get docked for that not knowing. So these reporting is really good.
And so let's talk about reporting. So we usually put Google Analytics on a website to see not only keyword stuff, how people are finding your website, but a lot about what the traffic's doing when it gets there. And Melissa, I'm going to pull you in here, because I know even with your social media clients, we look at Google Analytics a lot to figure out what kind of traffic we're driving there. And tell me, when somebody looks at analytics, what should they be looking at? What are some of those key factors I should look at on my website?
I would always look at the bounce rate, just because you don't want, if you're driving people to your site, that's great, but if they're going back to wherever they came from, it's like, okay, what's the point? So I think that makes it that much more important to have a very a pretty and informative website to make sure that you're providing your customers with valuable information.
And can you explain what the bounce rate is? Because some people may not know that.
So basically, if I'm looking through my feed and I see a cool link that I wanted to go to and I want to buy like a dress or something, I can click on that, look into whatever that link drives me to, but then if I don't find it interesting, then I'm going to go back to wherever I was scrolling, and so that would basically be contributing to that bounce rate.
So it's people that leave from the same page they landed on.
Exactly.
They don't spend time on the site and look around. They land on something and they go, nah, and they bounce.
Yeah. So like the amount of time that they spend on that website is valuable. You want to make sure that you're providing informative and valuable information.
Okay, so what else should we, either one of you, should we be looking at in Google Analytics? So bounce rate's a key thing. You want the bounce rate to be low then, right? Because you want more people looking around and not bouncing.
Right.
So the lower number is better on Google Analytics. What else?
The keywords are good.
Okay, talk to me about that.
So you could kind of see what people are searching to find your website.
What keywords are driving traffic.
What keywords are driving traffic. So you can actually help find out why people are actually going to your website. And you can change your website to those keywords to help people direct them better to your site by using those words.
Yeah, and it allows us to see where people are coming from too, right? Are they clicking from Facebook or Twitter or Google, like you're saying with the keyword?
So you can basically spend more money. If you're finding out Facebook is getting more traffic than Instagram, you can start putting more of your budget towards Facebook ads rather than Instagram ads.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right, what other numbers in Google Analytics do we look at? I'll tell you what my favorite is. It's time on site. I think time on site is really important because you could be driving thousands of hits to your website, but if they say 10 seconds, what's the point?
Right.
Those are not people that are going to become leads. There's not people that are going to hire you. And to your bounce rate point, they may not be looking around. They may just land and leave. And so I think having a healthy time on site is really important. Are they staying a minute or 2 minutes? Which may mean they've looked at your services, they've read your blogs, they've surfed around a little bit. I think that's a marker of valuable traffic.
Yeah. And also where they're spending their time in there too, like which pages, like it might be in a certain page or like no one's like actually really converting, or just like there's so many things you can gather just from like seeing where people are spending their time.
Yeah, I think you want to know what the most popular pages are, right? Now, inevitably, your homepage is going to be the most popular, right? Typically, with our clients, the homepage is always number one. But then, if there's a certain blog post that's getting a lot of traffic or a certain service area, that could help control your marketing a little bit, right? You could say, hey, this blog post that's doing well, we should put that out to more people. We have a blog post, it's our famous blog post around here. Shanice wrote it, one of our content editors. And what is it? The difference between a Facebook like and a Facebook follow. And that post, it's been on our blog for like a year and a half, but it's every month it's our most popular post. And we know that post drives a lot of traffic to our website. And so we talk about that topic a lot in our email marketing, in our social posts. We try to play up the fact that that's obviously a topic that people are really interested in. So finding out which pages are important to your audience can help you sort of fine-tune your marketing strategy, right? All right, Daniel, anything else we should know about SEO?
Just it helps you make sure your pages are indexed. That way people can help find your website. And it lets Google crawl your site. And then just review all your links and duplicate pages and make sure all the amount of words
going on in social media. And one of the things that happened that I got a lot of emails about, I don't know if you guys did, but a lot of people lost a lot of Twitter followers. A couple of our clients wrote and said, hey, my Twitter followers have gone down by 10,000 or whatever. And they said, why would that happen? And it's actually because Twitter cleaned up their act a little bit. They purged a lot of, they call them inactive accounts, right? So it would be bots or robots or fake accounts or people that just created profiles and never used them, that sort of thing. Twitter's trying to make the platform more authentic so that they're real users that engage with people. And so in Q4 of last year, end of last year, they said they purged, let me read the number, 58 million accounts. They got rid of 58 million accounts. And then in first quarter of this year, they just recently said they did 70 million more. So I can't do the math, Daniel, but 58 and 70, that's a lot of million. And if those people were your followers, they don't have Twitter accounts anymore. They're gone. And so you may have noticed that your Twitter followers dropped quite a bit. Melissa, what does this mean for us as Twitter users? I mean, I know we get a lot of ego wrapped up in the number. Should I be worried? Should I be upset about it?
No, because they probably weren't the ones engaging in the first place.
Right.
So, I mean, I know it's like pretty alarming to go from like, you know, have like that huge drop in your follower account, because I guess in today's society, everybody's so focused on like that follower count that like that's the first thing you notice. But at the same time, when you look at your engagement, that's actually the most important part of social media, is like seeing which of your fans are actually engaged with your, or having a discussion with your brand, and like want to learn more and want to like just be a part of the community. So
which ones are following the links and going back to your website.
Exactly. So I mean, if I'm following an account and I never did anything to it, and then my account got shut down, I'm sure like that brand would not care whatsoever.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So these aren't valuable followers we're losing, right?
No. Yeah.
So it is a bit of an ego hit. You know, you say I had 10,000 followers, now I have 2,000. Like that stings a little. But you're saying it shouldn't hurt the effectiveness of Twitter for you.
Yep. No, I don't think so at all.
Because the people that care are the people that are engaged, and they're not getting their accounts morphed.
If anything, it would be better.
Yeah.
It would help. You get to see who's more authentic, who's more real. And a lot of these famous Instagram people kind of started off with these fake bots, and then they started building their way up. So it's going to be a lot harder for that technique to be used again now, because it's harder to do that. But now we get to see authentically who these people are and everything like that.
You know, we talk a lot around here about a concept called social proof, and that's that there is some cachet, if you will, to having a bunch of followers. If I see you mentioned Instagrammers, so we'll talk about that. If I see an Instagram influencer that has 5,000 followers and one that has 100,000 followers, you think the 100,000 follower one is cooler or more important or has more prestige in some way. But that's not necessarily true, because those could be all bots, right? So I think what Twitter's trying to do is level the playing field.
Right.
You know?
And Instagram is actually starting to do that too.
Yeah, talk about that.
Well, I actually just got an email the other day from this bot company. They're like, oh, you know, we can grow your account. You know, you'll get guaranteed engagement. I was like, this will be shut down in a couple of days. Just give it a couple of days. And sure enough, actually the following week, I got an email saying like, oh, we're so sorry. If you signed up for our subscription, we'll refund you. I'm just like, whoops. There you go. You know, I'm glad social media is going towards this direction, just because like there's so many influencers that you really have to like look into their engagement, look into each comment to see like, are these comments real?
Yeah.
You know, if you just see a bunch of like heart eyes and just like of the same thing, you're just like, okay, yeah, they're probably not real.
There's whole jobs people that do that.
Yeah.
And just to make sure, you know, like they have the right audience, because you might have Instagram person who has a lot of comments, but they might not be your market. They might just be...
Well, it could be fake.
Could be fake, yeah. So it's really good that they're kind of shutting that down, so you get to see who actually is into it.
There's really been a shift sort of across the board towards more authenticity on social media. You know, people want to see... I think, I've always thought that it's much better to have 300 followers who really care about your business and engage with you than 3,000 who don't care anyway, right? So at KWSM, we've never used bots and never will. We believe in being more authentic than that, but it was a popular tactic until now it's getting cracked down on Twitter and on Instagram. So we'll keep an eye on that. And so, Melissa, let's talk a little more about Instagram. I know it's one of your favorite channels.
It is.
Yeah. Instagram's a good time. I enjoy it as well. But there's this new thing that I don't really enjoy, and I'm going to just be clean about it, come clean about it, and it's Instagram stories.
You're not a fan of it?
I'm not. Maybe,
I love the stories.
I mean, why is that? I feel like I don't have time for it. Like, I don't have time to, like, put thought into making stories that are then going to, like, go away.
I will make time for it.
Okay, all right, tell me why. I want you to change my mind. Tell me why this is important, because I love Instagram posts. I'm good with that. But there's something about making a story that then's going to disappear in 24 hours that, like, it makes me sad.
It's just because it's in the moment, you know. It's just like if you're experiencing like an amazing concert, you want your friends to experience the same like amazingness that you're experiencing, like right then and there, you know. If you post it on your feed, it's like, cool, I can go on YouTube for that, you know. But if I'm in a concert, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I just saw the Backstreet Boys. Sorry, I'm obsessed with the Backstreet Boys.
I know. Fan club, right?
Yes, fan club. I'm seeing them this weekend.
You are?
I am.
Oh, that's exciting.
I know.
Okay, we'll talk more about that later.
So, like, if I'm looking at the Backstreet Boys and, like, what if they bring me on stage, you know? That's something you would want all your friends to experience in the moment, you know? And just to see that excitement that you're experiencing right then and there, and just, like, everybody just be like, wow, she's having a great time. Maybe it's like more for social purposes.
So, I know, okay, so wait a minute. Maybe I just don't go to enough concerts, right? That could be problem number one. But number two, you're saying it's more immediate than a post. You're saying it's like real-time updates.
Okay.
Exactly. Daniel, you're a fan of Instagram stories. I see yours.
I'm a fan of Instagram stories because I don't want to be posting all the time. There's there's things like my cute puppy that I want to post, but I can't put it on my story, or I put it on my story so I don't have to post it on my page. So it's not flooded with dog pictures. But if you want to go to the story, you can see the dog pictures. So.
I do see the dog stories. Now, keep in mind, I watch all of your stories. I just don't post any of my own, right? I'm totally a voyeur on the stories. But talk to me from a marketing standpoint about a couple of other ways you would use Instagram stories, because it's not just about the Backstreet Boys.
Yeah,
although that's legit. But the Backstreet Boys are aside. Let's talk about real business uses for it.
Yeah, so I mean, like, if you're going behind the scenes, like, let's say we're working on this like amazing project, and like we're planning a huge event for one of our clients, and to get the community involved and seeing like all the nitty-gritty details that go into this event, and so they appreciate the event that much more. So maybe showing like us stuffing envelopes to show the invitations, like just how the process of like sending out the invitations, or like setting up an awesome stage and getting people excited leading up to that event. You know, it just like it shows like a more, I guess, more of a like a personal side of your brand, so that they kind of get excited for it, and they see all the work that goes into it to make them appreciate the event that much more.
Okay, so you're sort of letting them behind the curtain a little bit.
Yeah, and of course, like, still utilize your feed, and everything on your Instagram story should still complement what you're putting up in your feed. So if your feed consists like something that's like a build up to your event, then maybe your Instagram story should be like the behind the scenes of that specific event, or
Okay. All right, let's talk about other things. What about using it as a focus group of sorts?
Oh yeah, so in Instagram stories, they've added like a bunch of cool little features in there. There's the poll, there's the bar where you can kind of rate, like,
you slide
it, and you can even ask questions now. So you can use these features to see like, oh, okay, so should this dress be blue or black? You know, and then, or like there's that one viral post that went out a while back where it was like, is this dress like, was it blue or gold? It was like
blue or gold, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe if you did something like that, okay, is this dress blue or gold? You know, and then you can put yes or no, and you can see what your fans truly think about whatever you're posting about.
Stories are a lot more interactive than an Instagram post. Because one of the things from a business standpoint that I haven't liked about Instagram is that it's harder to drive traffic. Posts aren't clickable the way a Facebook post is. And so you're saying with stories, there's a lot greater chance to like drive engagement and get people involved.
Yeah, it just kind of shows more of like a real life perspective of things, because it's not as formal as like your photo and video feed. People are so focused on aesthetic nowadays that it's like, okay, so aesthetically, I'll be aesthetically pleasing on my feed, but then on Instagram stories, it's my true personality. So I think that's what drives a lot of people.
So it's not as edited. It's because you don't filter stories, do you?
No, not really. Unless you want a little bit of color.
You could zhuzh it a little.
Yeah.
Okay. But you're saying that it's more just a spur of the moment, put information out there, and not something that you planned and made beautiful content for your feed.
Right, exactly.
Okay. All right. So there's different strategies behind what you're posting. Okay. What about when other people post stories and then I want to share those? Can you share them?
You can. Well, if you wanted to post a story
Of yours.
of mine, I would have to tag you. So
I can only share stories and tag them.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you can do it. So now Instagram Stories has added this feature where you can add to story. So if I tagged you, you'll get a DM seeing like my Instagram story like talking about you, and if you think it's valuable content, you can instantly click add to story and it'll show up on yours.
So now I've created a story out of your story.
Exactly.
I like that now because before I'd always miss out on opportunities to put something cool on my story, but if my friends are there and they tag me in it, I could just repost what they do. So I don't have to worry about missing that content.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you guys start tagging me in your stories, and then I
We
don't have to
should,
make
yeah.
any. I'll just share all yours. Okay, that'll be good. I'll get your content out to a wider audience. All right. And anything else? I know that you're a big fan of Instagram takeovers. You want to chat about that for a second?
Sure. Yeah, so for Instagram takeovers, it's basically giving somebody else the chance to create Instagram stories through your channel. So if I had an influencer promote a brand that I'm trying to market, they would essentially take my account and just like give a different perspective on my business.
So I'm posting content on your account.
Exactly.
But as me, I'm not pretending to be you.
No, it just kind of gives it a different voice. You know, like I know everybody, like when you start a social media channel, you always want to establish your brand voice. But this way kind of like veers off a little bit just to give it a little bit of character. Like if you want to go with a comedian to just take over your Instagram stories one day, it'll kind of just add some humor to it. And yeah.
A lot of big ones are like Laguna Beach or like Mammoth. They'll have like traveling couples and they'll go out and they'll go to the restaurants or to the beach in, Laguna Beach or Mammoth and basically do all the tourist things. So if you're following their channel, not only do you get their fans who they have a lot of, but you got to see what they're doing in those parts of whoever's account they're in charge of.
So you're saying that it's a marketing thing. If I have a ski resort in Mammoth that I want to promote, I could get an attractive couple who comes to visit and say, take over our Instagram for the day and post pictures of your trip here.
Yeah, and so people will see that who doesn't know about that resort but follows that couple. They'll go there and they'll see all the cool things they can do on vacation, and then they'll promote awareness to go there.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other examples, Melissa, that business owners should have in mind about when an Instagram takeover might be appropriate?
They would definitely have to be a natural fit for your brand. You don't want to just take anybody off the streets and just take over your Instagram stories. That might not turn out so well.
Right.
But like if you're doing if you have a beauty brand, for example, maybe pick a beauty blogger. They're used to talking about makeup. They have their own tips and tricks, and they can utilize your brand and share their own unique ways of using your
they could be doing the tutorials on their page with their makeup. That's cool.
Okay. All right. Good ideas. Instagram has been in the news a lot lately, so a couple of things we should talk about. First, they beefed up their security recently. They said they were going to fight hackers, people hacking Instagram accounts. And this is interesting because this is how they say hackers do it. Ready? They steal your phone number by reassigning it to a different SIM card. Then they use it to reset your password. They steal your Instagram accounts and sell them for Bitcoin. What the heck is that about? They sell the accounts. So they say, now we don't know anybody this ever happened to, do we? Anybody know anybody whose Instagram has gotten stolen?
Yeah, I do.
You do? Okay, tell us about that.
I don't really know the nitty-gritties of it. I just know his account. We were supposed to work with him, and then his account got hacked into, so the partnership kind of
fell apart.
So
like an influencer, somebody with a lot of fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think these hackers will utilize those big accounts as bots because when whoever's liking like for bots, I guess I'm trying to find a great way to explain this. So when you get a bunch of likes from a bot, the more followers that bot has, the more the bigger chance your post has to get featured on like the discovery page.
Because it's more popular. You're being liked by someone who's
You're
popular.
being liked by someone who has a high following, and so that's why these hackers try to get those accounts with those high followers.
So I would hack into an influencer's account and then use that to like all the accounts that I'm botting or whatever. That's not a verb, but yes.
Yes.
Is that right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
That's a much better way to explain it.
So people are stealing Instagram accounts. That's all we know. It is a problem. And Instagram says that they are putting a lot of security measures in place. Two-factor authentication. I can't say that word. Two-factor authentication they're implementing, and some other things so that people are, it's harder to steal Instagram accounts. So that's worth knowing. But another thing that I think is really, really interesting and probably more valuable is that on May 1st, Instagram implemented a program where they're cracking down on bullies on Instagram and bullying comments. So now they say that if somebody makes a post about your appearance or your character or your well-being, like they're going to crack down and delete those comments and not allow bullying on Instagram. What do you think, Melissa? Is it a problem? Do people bully on Instagram?
Oh yeah. I think it's such a huge problem, especially with like the younger generation. I mean, I hate to kind of put this out there, but I mean, there's a higher suicide rate now, you know, and they're all young, and it's because you know they're growing up in this world where follower counts do matter, you know, and if you're getting bullied on Instagram, and that's you're automatically, you know, the less cool kid of the you know, at school. So.
Yeah, kids in high school are having it tough. I don't know what high school would be like for me if we had this, you know, with the smartphone and
harder,
everything.
right?
Yeah, a lot harder.
Yeah.
It'd be really bad. Also, I don't think the celebrities or anything care about. I mean, I don't think it affects them as much because they're celebrities. But if you go to like a celebrity's page, if you go to the comments, they get a lot of hate on there, and people like arguing with each other, and it gets pretty deep in those comments sometimes, and it gets pretty heavy. So
I think, like you're saying, I mean that's not right, but I'm less bothered by that than by the kids, the younger kids getting bullied, or even people our age. Like it's not nice to treat people that way. So Instagram says that it's launching a filter, or it launched a filter May 1st, to proactively hide those comments. So when there are bullying comments out there, they just remove them. And the CEO says this. The CEO's name is Kevin Systrom, and he says that he wants the moves to make Instagram a safe place for self-expression and to foster kindness within the community, which he says is the company's goal. So that's interesting that they see their goal as fostering kindness in a community, because it certainly has increased the level of connection. Right? Tell me about that. Do you feel closer to people because you see them on Instagram?
Yeah. I think that's how I've been able to, you know, keep up with all my high school friends, is because I see what they're doing, and we kind of keep, you know, when we see a cool picture, if one of my friends just got engaged, I'll always congratulate them and like even reach out to them on a text message, or give them a call, and it just helps everybody stay connected, which that should be the initial goal. So.
Social media has helped with that, you know, staying in touch, that connectivity. What about you, Daniel? Is that true of you?
I completely agree. There's people who, if it wasn't for social media, I probably wouldn't ever talk to again. But since they're on Instagram and Facebook, I will comment or like, you know, if they have a big life event or something like that, and I will kind of bring them to come comment back, and then we end up talking, and then we meet up for coffee or go out to the beach and hang out. So it definitely brings back some old relationships that have kind of fizzled out after the time.
Yeah, but it also makes those relationships so public, right? And so if something goes wrong and somebody writes a negative comment or says something bullying, it's very public. And this, you know, back to what we were saying earlier in the show here about follower counts being important, and if you have a really high follower count and then somebody calls you a name in front of these people, I think that can really have an effect on people. You know, it can be devastating. And that's, Daniel, you said earlier, that's something that didn't exist when we were in high school. I mean, social media wasn't a thing when I was in high school, right? And so I do think that's a whole another level of pressure, and it's a little off topic, but I was watching a video yesterday in preparation for our staff meeting today about perfectionism, and how a lot of people, social media has like made them feel like they have to be perfect, because you have to put out beautiful posts and you have to put out, you know, a perfect life out there for people to see. And it's this whole level of, you know, pressure that didn't used to exist.
And they say that is what is causing depression with the kids, because they see all their friends out there doing all these really cool and great things, and they think that's all their life is about. But in reality, they're just taking these really cool photos, but they don't know what's going behind the scenes. So they kind of get this FOMO, or the fear of missing out. And so it kind of makes them depressed, seeing that everyone's doing everything cool and they're not. But in reality, it's just their photos, and they don't know what's going behind the
scenes. And that may not be real at all, right? It's a image that we portray.
Yeah.
And I think that ties back to the marketing aspect, which I do like about social. So there's, there's pros and cons to everything, but the marketing is about what image do you want your brand to portray and how do you put that story out there. But then personally, are we losing that authenticity and that connection? And I think that that's what's nice about seeing all these channels crack down on things like that and get rid of fake followers and put bullying software in place and that sort of thing, is they're trying to bring back the authenticity again.
Exactly.
And make it a safer place.
Yeah.
So what's his name? Kudos to Kevin Systrom, CEO of Instagram, for helping to crack down on bullying. Good job, Kevin. All right, so that's all our news that we have for today, but we actually have one more thing, because we have big news to share with you about KWSM. And we're actually not going to share it, but we'll tease it. See this logo here behind us? I want you to check back on our website on Friday, because that logo may or may not be here. We have a big change coming to the agency, and we want you all to be part of it. So it's happening overnight Thursday night, and by 8 a.m. Friday morning, if you will look at our website or check our social media channels, I think you will see some new and exciting things in store for the second half of 2018 and beyond. How's that for teasing?
That's perfect.
Sounds good.
Okay, we did it. We did it. So we've got a lot of things cooking here that we're excited about. We're going to be back here for Social Media Help Desk next Tuesday at 12:30 Pacific Time. If you need more tips and advice before then, there's a couple of things you can do. First, send us an email, tips@katywagnersocialmedia.com. You can always ask us questions and we will answer them for you. And then also, we write a blog on our website. We publish 8 blog posts a week that have our favorite tips and advice. Daniel's SEO audit is on there, and actually an article about Instagram stories too. A lot of the things we talked about today you can find on our blog. And then lastly, we have a YouTube channel that not only has past episodes of this show, but also our tip of the day videos that'll help you with just the little tweaks that'll help you make social media more effective. So please follow all of those things. Check us out across digital platforms everywhere. And in the meantime, please like this video and tell us you are watching, and we'll see you next week. See you
Bye.
later.